Hello, I'm Martin Day, news editor for the Warwick Boar. I'm here with Adam Skrzymowski, the candidate for Vice President for Societies of the SU spring elections. Thank you for being here.
Yeah, thanks for inviting me. Happy to be here.
So first things first, I'll ask you, what are your key manifesto pledges, if you could summarize them, do you think?
Yeah, so I've actually set off six key pledges for my manifesto. So I think the main one that applies to sort of everyone is to cut the Societies Federation fee to £10 and £2 for postgrads, or even further than that, just because, as we all know, the Societies Federation fee is kind of one of the main things that prevent people from joining societies if they're not too sure about it. I'd also introduce a second societies fair in term two, so that people get another chance to see what societies exist if they miss the first one in term one. And then for exec, I've got quite a lot of things that will help with running societies. So I would look into reviewing all of the spending rules and guidelines that the SU has, because a lot of them don't really make much sense or contradict each other. So overhaul them to make them not get in the way. And similarly, I would rewrite all of the exec resources on the website to make them actually usable. Another one I have for societies is set up a marketplace for societies to exchange services, resources, just to stop everyone having to buy the same things over and over again. And also, if someone's new to a role and they don't have all the networks and connections to know where to get things, having one place to get them from would be really useful. And I guess finally, my last key pledge is to go out and talk and regularly just go out into the uni, talk to students, talk to exec members, find out what's working, what's not working with societies, because I think currently there isn't really any sort of way to close that feedback loop and get informal feedback unless someone comes into the SU to complain about something specific. So I pledge to sort of go out and do that myself.
That's great. You touched a bit about increasing perhaps inclusivity among SU societies with some of your pledges. I was wondering to go a bit more into detail. How might you try, what would you do to increase a sense of inclusion in SU societies for students from perhaps more marginalized backgrounds, so less well off or minority groups?
Yeah, so I suppose the primary thing is with reducing a society's federation fee further, just so that people don't have that sort of financial barrier. I'd also like to involve postgrads more, who are currently not really being included in societies, and incentivize societies to do specific things to cater for them. And generally publicizing societies more, just so that information about societies is more accessible. So having another societies fair, especially as some people might avoid going to it in term one just because they don't think they're interested in societies, and then by the time they think, oh, maybe I should, it's gone. So, and increasing the ways that societies can publicize themselves, just to spread the word about what they're doing. So a lot of ways that societies can become more accessible and known about in general.
Sorry about that. How would you, what sort of measures do you think you might propose for how the SU could handle welfare issues within societies and on society execs?
So I found, having been involved in some issues myself, currently the main problem is that even if the SU does have procedures and policies on how to deal with issues, they're really not publicized at all. And you don't know who to go to. If you have a problem with someone, well, there's welfare officers who have the job of just signposting and clarifying sort of what the steps are, and if you do have a welfare issue within a society, just so that people know the process, because currently, as I say, it's all very kind of hidden and makes it very difficult to engage with.
All right, thank you. That sounds good. How perhaps, how would you want to improve as well the approachability of the SU for societies when they're claiming, when claiming payments and reimbursements from the SU, as that's often an issue that's come up come up quite a lot with SUs. They find it can be quite unresponsive for those. Are there any ways you'd want to improve, well, that aspect, the financial aspect of societies?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I suppose it splits up into two main parts. Often when people are new to like the role of an exec or just in a society, because any member can have a reimbursement for something, it doesn't have to be exec. The SU really doesn't tell anyone how to do it. It might get 5 minutes in the initial training online, but there's not a page telling you how to do it. And I've had to show loads of people the way. So even just adding a page to resources that you can send people to and say, this is how you do it step by step. The other sort of part that I find with reimbursements people find scary is just the idea that they might get rejected, and you never really know. You send in a reimbursement and it's your society's money, but then someone in the SU can be like, oh, well, actually, this receipt is bad, or you're missing proof of payment when you've sent them a receipt that doesn't have a card number on it, or, oh, this doesn't benefit all members, and so on. And if all of those things were said up front, so that you know and can be confident that when you're submitting a request for some money, that it will get paid or not paid. Often we have issues where, for example, it will get approved by your society's coordinator, and then it goes to finance, and then finance say, oh, this is wrong, and they just shouldn't do that because it's not their job, it's not their place, it's not their money, it's the society's money. Yeah, so just clarifying the process, making those guidelines clear so you know from the get-go what's going to go through, and then also explaining to everyone how to do it.
All right. How would you want to, as well, increase the accessibility of societies for people, like staying with this cost theme, just for individuals, especially with the cost of living crisis? How might you want to make societies more affordable for just students?
I mean, I think a lot of it boils down to like, what are societies doing? Most societies' activities don't cost money in the first place. With like most societies, if they have a membership fee, it will be £2-3, £2 to £5. So it's accessible, and weekly activities don't cost much. The main kind of thing is if a society has a ball, those tend to be more expensive. So I'd look into how we can sort of reduce that and make it easier for people to take part in. Perhaps have some sort of grants in a similar way that the sports officers have a grant to help with participation into sports. I suppose the other part to do with this is I want to look at how we can increase funding to societies. It's very clear that the university doesn't take societies as seriously as sports clubs. They get loads more grant money than we do. And yeah, you can say that they pay more to the university, but like it's completely disproportionate. They get their needs covered and societies just don't. So I'm looking into how we can increase the grants available to societies, and where they already exist, clarify the processes societies can apply for various funding around the university to be able to do more activities at less cost to their members, and yeah, just go bigger and better.
All right, thank you. And finally, what would you say makes you stand out from your opponent in the race to be SU Society's vice president?
I think what makes me stand out is just my both breadth and depth of experience I bring to the role. I've been on countless execs and positions and teams throughout the years. I've applied and started a new society. I've been on the societies forum and seen the other side of that process. I mean, I started the Warwick Student Arts Festival last year, which is a huge event. I've been involved in lots of new events with Hackathon that we had with Computing Society. I've been involved in loads of different societies from different segments, from TEDx conferences type things, Tech Crew. I've had a show on Raw last year. I've learned to play an instrument with brass socks. So it's just, I've seen so many different perspectives and different ways that as societies can run, rather than seeing one way and seeing, oh, this is how it is. I've seen and understand the needs and different ways that different societies do things.
Thank you. Well, thank you very much for being here today and taking the time to interview with us. That was Adam Skrzymowski, candidate for Vice President for Societies in the Warwick SU spring elections.
Thank you. Thank you very much for the opportunity. It was nice to meet you.